Hi everybody, this is Josh with MusicLesson.com here. Just wanted to come to you with a video today about how to tune your violin. What we've got here, I'm using my violin, been doing a little bit of practicing with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to tune your instrument. I'm going to show you what the pegs do. I'm going to show you what the fine tuners do. And give you just a little bit of a perspective on how to tune your instrument and the main ways that people tune a violin. Let's put this down for a moment, and I'm going to show you two things right now that are going to aid you in tuning. Okay, one is a tried and true old-fashioned way. This is a pitch pipe. Okay, you can see a pitch pipe. On the pitch pipe, it's got some it's got letters telling you they're on the insides. Actually, I don't know if you can see them right there. There's some letters there. It's not focusing well. A, D, G, and E gives you pitches that you can match the strings to, but you have to have a good ear. Otherwise, you're not going to know exactly what pitches or be able to ascertain which pitches to match the string to. So these work. They're pretty good. I used them all throughout my youth. But if they're not maintained, they can get off pitch, and they are susceptible to the weather, just like our instruments are. Our instruments are susceptible to the weather, but these especially, because they're made of metal, they contract, they expand, depending on temperature, barometric pressure, humidity, I'm sure has a little bit to do with it as well. So they're not 100% foolproof, but see, this one hasn't been. There you go. There you go, and that's an A. That's supposed to be an A. Another way, which I don't have one with me today, but that is a pitchfork. If you look up a pitchfork online, you'll see a bunch of pictures. It's literally a metal fork. It splits into two, and if you tap it on a hard surface, it will ring a pitch. Violinists usually use pitchfork in A. So we can get an A, we can tune the A, and then all the other strings on the violin are tuned in fifths from each other. So you can get a perfect fifth, A to E, A to D, and then D to G, tuning it that way. It works out pretty well. I use that again all throughout my youth. The third way is that you get either a 440 hertz A from another person. For example, in orchestras, they'll play an A at the beginning, and then everyone will tune their instruments to match that A. Or you can use a piano that's well-tuned acoustic piano. They'll tap an A for you. And then you can match your violin, your string A, to that A, so you can be in tune with everybody. Again, all those things are subject to temperature, pressure, humidity, so those pitches vary a little bit. They're not perfect in their scientific wavelength, if you will. However, nowadays we have great electronic tuners that do a very good job. This one just clips onto the end of the violin. I'll show you how to do that as well. I like these. This is a chromatic tuner. Okay, chromatic tuners are very useful for a instrumentalist who knows what pitches come after the other one and roughly the right octave that your string should be in. So if you're a fresh violinist, this may be a little bit tricky for you. They make these that tune only the four strings on the violin. That might work out better. So if you want to invest in that, you can go ahead and do that. But I like the chromatic ones because obviously, my ear's developed. I know where the pitches are going and know what it roughly should sound like. And this allows me to tune any stringed instrument, or really technically any instrument that produces vibrations. I can tune with this. So it's very handy, very useful for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this. I'm going to tune one string for you and give you the mechanics of tuning this instrument. So I apologize, this video is going to run a bit long. I don't like to do that, but this is good information for you. Okay, so here on the violin we have the pegs. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of them correspond to a specific string. Okay, these are for large tuning adjustments. Okay, anything a half step or more is going to require these. Then we have our fine tuners. Let's try to get a close up right here. Right there, that's a fine tuner right on the tailpiece. Okay, right here. All right, and that's for a small tuning adjustment. The max that I've been able to get out of this is a half step. So basically from an A to an A sharp or an A sharp to an A, something like that. That's the max I've been able to get out of this. I'm sure in certain circumstances there are more, but that's pretty much the limits of a fine tuner that I've experienced. Okay, and you can use those for small tuning adjustments. So get it right close in the ballpark. Use your fine tuner to adjust the pitch of the instrument, or the pitch of the string rather. Okay. Now these, unlike the fine tuner, which is mechanical, meaning it's easier to turn 90% of the time, these pegs are not mechanical. They work based off of the friction in the wood, the friction of the ebony against your maple or your headstock. Okay, your scroll. Right there. Okay, so that's what it's based off of. So what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how to tune this. I'm going to, first of all, clip this on the end of my violin, the end of my instrument, and I'm going to detune my A. Okay, so you can hear this. Okay, so I'm going to detune my A. Okay, now I'm showing a G sharp. Okay, I'm showing a G sharp right now. Now what I've got to do is, this is tuned down, okay? I've got to tune up to the pitch, and while I'm doing that, of course, depending on your instrument and how much friction you have between your pegs and your peg box there, you may have to really push in to your peg as you tune up. Now always push in and tune up. You may have to push in less, you may have to push in more, depending on the friction that your pegs have with your peg box, okay? And peg box is simply the space in here, okay? Now, it's very important. 90% of the time you're going to want to tune up to the pitch, okay? Tune up to the pitch, because that will hold the best 90% of the time, okay? This goes for pretty much any string instrument, mechanical or not mechanical tuners, non-mechanical tuners like these. So we're going to tune up to that pitch, okay? What I like to do is I like to pluck it and then bring it up. Okay, now I'm back to A. I'm showing a flat A, okay? The other thing is, very important, you've got your pegs here. Don't hold the violin and push in with your hand right here, okay? You want to tune up with your opposite hand against the pegs, because if you do, you're putting undue strain on the top of the violin, on the neck, which can strain the neck, okay? Now, it may not be that serious for your instrument, but some instruments that are old, you don't want to take that chance, okay? So tune up, okay, with your hand against it. All right, now I'm showing a little bit of a sharp A, okay? Everyone, I'm sure, can hear that. I'm going to tune myself back down a little bit. There you go. Now I'm right in the ballpark. Now here's another trick that you can use, okay? I don't have a fine tuner for my A, okay? Once you get to a certain level, you start shedding fine tuners. What I do is I stretch my string, okay? So I grab the string, and I'm literally going to stretch it from one side to the other. Don't want to go too far, because you know you can get flat, right? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do want to go too far, and my string's not stretching as I'd like it to. So I'm just going to go ahead and retune it. Now here's another tip that you can use. If your string is just a hair flat, you can take right above the nut right here, press in, okay? And that'll raise the pitch sharp. Okay, so pulling the string will detune it slightly, okay, normally. And then pressing it in above the nut, just a little bit, trial and error, will raise the pitch slightly. Now, these are quick fixes, okay? They don't solve things necessarily. You want to pretty much try to tune right on that A, if possible. Okay? And of course, depending on, see, my peg box and my pegs are really, really tight. My strings don't want to stretch. They've stretched a lot. There you go. Now I'm right on the A. Now I'm in a perfect A. So you really want to try to hit that note right on, whether it be D, G, A, or E. You want to hit it right on. Of course, E, we have our fine tuners 90% of the time. But those are the basics of tuning your violin, how to tune your instrument. I hope that helped. Hope it gave you some ideas of what you can use to tune your violin, and so that you can do it at home. It's important to be in tune while you're practicing, and I hope this all works out for you. All right? Have a great day.